What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman here for Stokastic.com, back again with the process closing out August, Wednesday, August 31st. It's September 1st tomorrow, which means all you basic people can start drinking your stupid pumpkin-flavored drinks. I don't believe in it. I don't agree with it, but you can do it anyway. What we can do is talk a little bit of baseball from yesterday. We've got all the stacks and everything pulled just like we did yesterday. So we're going to look at pitching exposures and stack exposures, the difference between the relay throw and the mini max, my exposures. And then we can take a look at the MMA contests for this Saturday. Kind of a step down from where they normally are, but we'll get into that in a bit. Before we do anything, like, subscribe, notification bell. It helps me out a ton for you guys to hit that thumbs up, so I would appreciate if you could just give me a little boosty boost. It's just nice. It's just nice. Common courtesy, perhaps. I need you guys to go check out PrizePicks, though. That's the big one here. The banner at the top of the screen and kind of at the bottom of the screen, too, shows you the promo code AWESEMO, AWESEMO. If you click the link in the description of this video and use that promo code, you will get up to $100 on your first deposit. You don't have to worry about sharks or optimizers. As much as I love Fantasy Cruncher, you don't need it for PrizePicks. You're basically picking player props, over-unders, you're building parlay cards, and if you pick 5, you got a chance to win up to 10x your entry fee. There's all sorts of additional sports that you would never expect, including all of the ones that you would come to expect. And we've got plenty of tools at Stokastic.com that I think will help you out. So go check it out. Go to PrizePicks. Use that promo code AWESEMO, AWESEMO. All right, so brief stopover here in the four-seamer from last night. Shouts to 1-800-EDDIE for picking this one up. That would be Eddie Lai, the tech behind Stokastic, pulling down the big win here. And then I snuck into 9th. And I had a decent shot. If we pull it up here, Royal stack got me where I needed to be. So this was for 400 bones. Got Snell, got Gossman, which was great. But 5-man Royal stack certainly worked. Had the Michael Taylor 30, had the Prado 40, had the Perez 26. Oswaldo Cabrera with the bagel, just keeping me from the tippy top here. LeMahieu only had 9. Ryan O'Hearn only had 5. So had a decent shot. Great lineup. Can't really be all that mad about it. Oh, I can be mad about that, though. I can be mad about that. I really need to stop swiping on my mouse in this. It's getting to the point where I do it so frequently now that I've got nobody left to blame except for myself. So I'm going to pull up all of the other tournaments that I did have open that I just unfortunately closed. I need to take that little twitch away from myself here. I'm too quick with the mouse. All of a sudden it costs me everything. Just want to go back and show Eddie's lineup from the four-seamer, what it would have taken for me to get to where I wanted to be. So Eddie beat me. Yeah, Eddie had 208.15. I had 199.6. So, 9.5 points or whatever. Eddie's lineup, the winner by a 1.5. Got there with Max Fried only having 8.5. That'll help out a ton. Had Judge and Benintendi as the one-offs for the Yankees, or I guess two-man stack for the Yankees. O'Neal Cruz's 16 as the one-off. Enough to get Eddie into that number 1 spot. But I'll take 9th. I can't complain there. Ended up being a good night overall because of that finish. Would have liked a couple more spots, but what are you going to do? Now we could take a look at ownership for yesterday, and we should be getting used to this at this point. It's just sort of how it happens. Can I make that the whole screen? Yeah, basically. Okay, that works. So as we look at it here, right away, standout item, 84% 5-man stacks in the relay throw, 68% in the mini max. Play more 5-man stacks in the mini max, people. And then we can quickly see there were 3 teams at the top that were underrepresented or represented less in the relay throw than the mini max. And remember, we're spreading this out a lot differently too. So Atlanta, 12.6% owned in the mini max, just 10.9 in the relay throw. Still a good stack, still the best stack per the relay throw. but a little bit less sharp at 5.4%. I'll take it. The second highest owned stack on the relay throw, 10.8% to the Yankees, up from 7.2 in the mini max, an increase of 3.6%. If we're talking in relative terms, a 50% increase in stack amount. I can't be right. 10.8 divided by 7.2 minus 1. Yeah, 50% increase based on stack amount. So that was my biggest stand yesterday. The Yankees, 30% Yankee stacks. So I went heavy, and in the that's the trigger right there. Mini max way lower than the relay throw, and that's where I got my chips in. Milwaukee, lower in the relay throw than they were in the mini max. I had 0. I'd say, as far as I'm concerned, these top 3, I'm pretty happy with what I got to. The Dodgers were a little bit lighter in the relay throw, not a spot that I got to. Boston, the second biggest differential between mini max 150 maxers and the relay throw. That was my third biggest stand as a stack. Oakland was another stand that I took. And then the interesting piece here, and I think it just simply had to do with pitching exposure. Probably didn't need this much Washington. I can't complain about it. It's just, sometimes you're just going to get the things you don't totally expect. I had a lot of the Washington Nats, largely because I had some heavier exposure to Aaron Nola. We'll get into that in a second. But ultimately, lighter on Atlanta. I'm happy about it. Heavy on the Yankees. That's, to me, the best play. The best stack that you could have got to yesterday was the Yankees, so that worked out for me. Very light on Milwaukee. To me, another positive. Lighter on the Dodgers, another positive. Very, very, very overweight to Boston. Another perfect play. I think that I hit the 2 best stacks yesterday in the best possible way. To me, I nailed 5-man stacks. On the pitching side, Gausman, a little bit less owned in the relay throw than the mini max. That honestly shocks me. I thought his price was really odd yesterday. I assumed that in the relay throw, he would end up being like, I don't know, 47, 48, a big stand. So that went the other way. Ultimately, I was right with the mini max slightly. This is 41, this is 43. I'm at 42. I can't really read into that one all that much. There was just sort of an amount of Gausman that you kind of had to have. Max Fried, 3.8% more in the relay throw than the mini max. I was light on Fried. To me, that is just simply not the correct play. Similarly, Snell. This one's interesting because I felt like I was wrong on Snell all day. I felt that I was right on Snell. I didn't know why I wasn't getting to more, and he ended up being good, and that it didn't work out for me. But 33%, let me just shorten these. I'm tired of looking at this as if that extra little hook matters. It matters more in the stacks because they're smaller numbers, but there we go. So Snell, 31% owned in the relay throw, 33% in the mini max. So slightly over owned, if we're being honest. I came in light. Does it really matter? Like, should I come in at 15%? No. Did I likely have Snell under projected? Probably a little bit. But it is interesting to me to see that the relay throw was less than the mini max. What wasn't was Giolito. 24% in the relay throw, 20% in the mini max. I was right with the field. The biggest stand that I took was Framber Valdez. I was, 2.5 times the field. It's directionally accurate. Valdez was 12% owned in the relay throw and just 10 in the mini max. But really, what I'm looking at here, Fried and Giolito should have been the guys that you were trying to get to a little bit more if you were in the mini max. Snell and Gausman a little bit less, and that just wouldn't have worked out for you yesterday. Gausman ended up putting up the 20-something. Snell was in the 20s as well. Fried had 8. Giolito wasn't very good either. Nola, obviously, was atrocious. Did not have a good fantasy day at all. So it's an interesting one for today just because I think the 2 sharp plays from a pitching perspective were the guys that didn't do all that well, and the 2 sort of square plays in Snell and Gausman were. Now, when it comes to pitching, I don't want to I don't want to read too much into this. I think a lot of these guys end up being relative to each other. Like, just because Gossman's 2% less owned in the relay throw, he's still the chalk on both sides. Like, just because Snell is 2% less owned in the relay throw, he's still the third most owned pitcher. Like, you're not looking at these numbers and thinking like, oh, I should have played 0 Gossman because he was owned less. No, that's not how any of this works. But like, if you're playing in the mini max and Max Fried is 34% owned, like, maybe you want something in the low 40s. That's your trigger. Maybe you want Giolito around 30. Maybe you want Snell at like 25 and Gaussman at like 35. It's marginal at the top because they're so separated from the pack. So when push comes to shove, I think I crushed the 5-man stacks. I couldn't have done much better here. I'm very happy with the way that my exposures came out. With regards to pitching, I don't think that I did all that well outside of Snell, and I consider that to be, mild failure. Over on Nola didn't help either. I also don't think that much of this mattered. I don't think that Gaussman or Fried, like, I have all of these guys. Being light-ish on Snell was going to be my stand yesterday no matter what, but I'm still just getting that's 171% of my ownership going to those top-owned pitchers. It was 182 in the relay throw. It was 176 in the mini-max. So, like, I'm directionally accurate with pitching. I don't think there's a lot to read into. If we're being honest, I wish I had a little bit more Fried and a little bit more Giolito. I just didn't. But that's baseball for yesterday. Yay, Haymaker. No, not Haymaker. Haymaker is what we're going to talk about in a second. Yay, four-seamer. Haymaker is on MMA's slate for this Saturday. Not a great slate. It really isn't. So I can't compare it to last week. That's not the right date. This needs to be what? 9. How do I get back over there? I can close. Where did my tabs go? I moved this? I'm really bad sometimes at messing around here. Where in the world how did I move that MMA tab? Not what I wanted to do at all. Can we move that back over? So, learning on the fly here, folks. I just moved the sheet from one workbook to the other. Didn't even know that was a hotkey you could use. Now I just don't even know where it went. I lost this sheet somehow. Oh, I dragged it. Okay. God, I'm dumb, guys. So what I need to do is change this date. So it's actually, let's see, today's the 31st. So tomorrow's the 1st, Friday's the 2nd. So this was going to be September 3rd. Got my tracking wrong here. So last weekend, no, not 2 weekends ago, the pay-per-view. I can't compare the contest sizes to the pay-per-view because they're always going to be smaller. What I can compare it to is the week before the pay-per-view, which would have been the 13th. We had 500K to the throwdown. I actually have this wrong. Let me pull up the DraftKings list. I think it's a 400K contest, and I forgot to override it. It is 400K. All right. God, rough morning. Not enough coffee. So now we get the 400K in there. But 3 weeks ago, we had a 500K up top. We had a 40K Haymaker. We had a 60K Mini-Max. This week, 400 up top, $35,000 Haymaker, 50K Mini-Max. So DK stepped on the prize pools of everything going on for MMA this week. Doesn't mean you shouldn't play. Definitely get into the Haymaker if you can, if you're looking to start up your MMA contests. $3 buy-in, 20 max contest, 0.14% of the entries. If you max it, it costs you $60 to get in. I'm unquestionably playing the Haymaker. 3 weeks ago, when I did play the Haymaker, I had the highest EV lineups in the contest. So I got to try to defend that crown now that I'm back. I'm obviously playing the mini max. There's no real way around it. If I want a 150 max, that's my only shot. You can get in the armbar for 750. It's going to be a much tougher contest. Prize pool isn't even all that great, but what are you going to do? I prefer the payout structure to the armbar, but I'm not so sure having it's a much tougher contest. I think the mini max is going to be a lot softer, although you are playing 5 times as many entries. If you're chasing the real money, $18 to get in the throwdown, 26,000 entries, 150 max is $2,700. That's 0.5% of the entries. 45.5 times your buy-in if you get a top 1%er. It's 100K to first. That is the one you're looking for the big time payout. But Haymaker and the mini max, that's where I'm going to be for this weekend. Not out of the realm of possibility that I add in a single entry shot somewhere, but for now, this is where I'm going to be. Got to pay a little bit more in MMA. They just don't give you the contests. DraftKings, step your game up, though. No reason to be cutting these prize pools the way that we did. This should be 500K up top. This Haymaker should be 50K every single time. It'll fill. I promise. Just do that. That's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown for baseball. We're going to do that again tomorrow. Nice little 9-game slate coming up tonight. And then, I don't know, maybe we'll look at like Live Showdown tomorrow. We got a lot that we can start breaking down. So thank you for joining me. Like, subscribe, notification bell, sign up at PrizePicks, and good luck with everything you do today. Peace.